We're just a few days away from the official release of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and with everyone getting more and more hyped for the launch, here's everything you need to know before buying and playing this remaster of this masterpiece in gaming. Let's get to it. So the original Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII released all the way back in 2007 and is actually a prequel to 1997's Final Fantasy VII. You take on the role of Zack Fair, a giant sword-wielding member of the paramilitary organization Soldier. No, it isn't an acronym for anything. It's up to Zack to determine the whereabouts of a soldier by the name of Genesis Rhapsodos, as well as his mentor Angeal Hewley. As Zack makes his way from one location to another, he'll face off against various monsters and find out about Project G and how it relates to two other senior soldiers. No names mentioned, but if you know, you know. Generally speaking, the story behind just about every Final Fantasy game is fantastic, and Crisis Core is no exception. There's plenty of interesting plot points and a variety of different characters, many of whom are series favourites, that Zack will meet along the way, including Cloud Strife, Aerith Gainsborough, and the stoic, brooding Sephiroth. However, many fans of the series are less than impressed with Zack's new voice actor. In fact, there are several YouTube videos where fans have expressed their dissatisfaction with Zack's voice. The problem is that the new guy seems to speak too quickly and is kinda wooden at times. This is a major bummer, as it inevitably detracts from Final Fantasy's story-driven nature and the overall experience of gamers as a whole. Many fans are hoping for some kind of mod that will allow for Zack's old voice to replace his new one, but whether this comes to pass or not is purely speculation at this point. But this unfortunate aspect aside, the Crisis Core remaster features completely overhauled graphics and several enhancements to the battle system to make gameplay that much more enjoyable. How, you ask? Well, it all comes down to a new menu-based combat system, and the much reviled Digital Mindwave, or DMW system from the original Crisis Core, which many players regard as one of its very worst mechanics, has been addressed and consequently fixed, at least judging by the gameplay footage we've seen so far. The main reason why the DMW system is largely disliked by fans is because it effectively interrupts gameplay since players have no choice but to watch the slot machine reels spin for a couple of seconds. And yes, to confirm, there's absolutely no way to skip this. The other issue with the DMW system is with the limit breaks themselves. When performed, they can take a good chunk of time as players are forced to watch the cutscenes, which only get worse as Zack unlocks more abilities and summons. Thankfully, these disruptions seem to be entirely absent in the Crisis Core remaster, so for modern gamers who aren't used to constant interruptions, and even those that are, this will undoubtedly improve the pace of combat and allow for the story to progress much more rapidly. What's also cool about the Crisis Core remaster is that the composer behind the original game's soundtrack, Takaharu Ishimoto, has all new arrangements that will appear at different points throughout the game's narrative. Takaharu may no longer be employed permanently by Square Enix, but he's still a seasoned veteran in the space and has composed epic soundtracks for several games over his long career. A lot of time and devotion goes into creating a truly memorable soundtrack, so I have no doubt that Takaharu's latest compositions will be similarly unforgettable. I almost forgot to mention the brand new summon cinematics that this remaster will feature, and if they don't get you totally hyped up, then I don't know what will. These are a major part of the game's allure and will definitely make combat feel that much more epic. If you're going to wield incredible power, you want to feel it when you use it. The Crisis Core remaster should live up to this principle, and I'd be a little more than surprised if fans weren't completely stoked with these new animated cutscenes. As a bonus, if you do decide to pre-purchase the Crisis Core remaster, you'll gain access to the Soldier Materia set. Basically, this gives you access to 3 materia, namely Dark Fire, Dark Thunder, and Dark Blizzard, early on in the game. This should make your fight against Shinra and the monsters you encounter a whole lot easier, so it's a pretty sweet deal if you're happy to buy the game before it releases. And if you're willing to spend that little bit extra, then you may just want to go for the digital deluxe version of the game. If you go with this option, you'll get the remaster of Crisis Core as well as the original mini soundtrack for the game. You'll also get the original art book called Heroes Past and Present, The Art of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. If you're a collector or just a huge fan of Final Fantasy in general, then this package may just float your boat. I have very high hopes for this remastered classic, and even though it may not be perfect in every way, I think most fans will be suitably happy with all the improvements and updates the game has received. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion will officially release on December 13th, 2022 and will be available on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo Switch. So do you plan on picking up the Crisis Core remaster upon release? Or have you already pre-ordered for those extra perks? Let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell so we can keep bringing you hot new metaverse gaming and VR content on a regular basis. Later!